Hello, it's David C. Jones, and it's Before the Curtain Goes Up one more time. And I am here with the illustrious Dave DeVoe, who is co-artistic director with Carousel Theatre for Young People. Dave, how are you?
You know what? I'm doing well. We are getting so much beautiful sun down here on Granville Island. It is just very reassuring that the fall is not yet here, and I don't have to drink a pumpkin spice yet.
Nice. And you can feel, actually, you can feel in the wind, although you're inside. I'm outside, you can tell by the lighting. In the wind, you feel just a little coldness in the air, but not enough to disturb you, just enough to go, don't get used to this.
Exactly, it makes us enjoy it a bit more because it's just sort of that fleeting moment of
Yeah.
the last whispers of the beach saying goodbye, friend. See you next.
Nice. Now you guys have a show coming up. You and Jenica. Her name's Jenica?
Ah,
Yeah.
Jenica Grimka.
Yes.
I've met her.
Yes, and you have a show coming up called Frozen River. Is that right?
That is correct. It is a Manitoba Theatre for Young People production that had its premiere this past February, and we're excited to be the first theatre outside of their home theatre where they're bringing the tour. And we're the first stop on a much larger tour that will go across the country.
Fantastic. So now, how did you find this show? It seems like it's very, very timely because it's about environmentalism, and I guess it touches a little bit on colonialism because you have a Scottish character and an Indigenous character. Does it touch on that as well?
Quite a bit, quite a bit. And I mean, so Pablo, the artistic director of Manitoba Theatre for Young People, sent us this script. Well, actually, at first he sent us a short documentary piece about sort of the making of the show, and I have great admiration for a lot of the artists involved. So we were immediately intrigued. And then once I read the script itself, I mean, as a playwright myself, like words, character, narrative first, everything else later. I was profoundly moved by this show. I mean, I read hundreds of scripts in a year, and this one was like the top of the pack. I was just sort of silently weeping to myself and immediately started reading it again. Um, I just think, I mean, I've really devoted much of my life to theater for young audiences, writing it, producing it, helping make it happen. I think it's a tremendous honor to be able to introduce young minds to ideas that perhaps they've never contemplated, and give them the space and agency to decide what they think about those things, and give them some resources to have those conversations. And this show really invites a lot of different conversations and also provides some hope, which I think is a really important thing to bring into kids' lives, especially nowadays.
Yeah, because kids are so once they discover the internet, they're so very much aware of the world. And you're a dad yourself, so your kid must be getting a little old enough to start to explore. And you're like, no, don't just believe in what we tell you in our world of wonder and play. Don't find out what's going out there in the world.
Oh, very that. And I mean, I think particularly, I think this is a complicated time for a whole number of reasons. But when we consider that, some of the audiences who will come see this show are, 5, 6 years old, these are kids who possibly have never seen a live show. They've existed in a context where a lot of their world shrank just as they needed it to explode, right?
Right.
Um, and so I think this is a particularly meaningful and beautiful and exquisitely crafted play that will really welcome people back into the land of sort of communal sharing of ideas and knowledge.
You're doing it at the Waterfront Theater.
We are.
So do you have things in place if I were a parent going, well, I don't know if I want to take my kid there. I don't want them to get the COVID, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so certainly in the season, the sort of half season that we launched earlier this year from like March to May, we continued with mandatory masking, and we sold at reduced capacity, long past the mask mandate had expired. I think now we're in a slightly different position where kids are able to access vaccines in a way they were not during that season. So we're continuing to ask audience members to mask. Obviously, the passports themselves are gone. We are not forcing people to mask, but we are maintaining some, like many companies. I actually took some great inspiration from Pacific Theatre for really like leading the charge on this, that some performances are mandatory mask performances, to just give people the option of feeling that extra level of safety. I mean, we as an organization, all of our staff, we mask up. The front of house manager in the box office will be masked. We're doing the best that we can without trying to really get into complicated discourse with people who are adamantly not wanting to still wear masks. So.
Nice. Are you doing an online version of the show as well, or is it just in the theater?
Person, yeah.
Just in person, fantastic. So, can you give a quick summary of why we should go? Why should I bundle my kids up and put them in the car and drive on down to the Waterfront Theatre, mask or no mask? What am I going to see? What's going to happen? Is the river frozen? Is it actually frozen? How is a Scotsman involved? And how is this Indigenous person's call involved?
Well, I mean, I think what you're in for is a beautiful alchemy of story and character, of two characters from two different parts of the world who speak two different languages, finding commonality and seeing one another, like really seeing one another for the first time, and it bringing them closer and closer together. Beautiful puppetry, beautiful design.
There's puppets.
Puppets.
I didn't even know.
And ultimately, I think like a great launching point for conversations that I'm hoping families and classrooms are already having about colonialism, about
environment,
relationship to land, about Indigenous caretaking of land. This all really comes up in the show in really beautiful and never heavy-handed ways.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, is there singing? Is there singing involved?
There is no singing.
Okay.
You'll have to wait for the holiday show for that.
Okay, awesome. So this will be at the Waterfront Theatre. It's not a long run, right?
About 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
So,
yeah.
I mean, Vancouver medium run.
Nice. And I assume you'll be doing some performances during the day that are reserved for schools as well?
We do, yeah. So we have student matinees at 10 and 1 from Tuesday to Thursday. And then we have public performances on Friday nights and Saturdays and Sundays during the day.
How lovely, how lovely. Well, it sounds like a wonderful show, and it's got puppets, and it's got relevance, and it sounds...
Well, and on top of the run of the show, because we're really passionate about keeping these conversations going and not having all of these vital themes leave as people leave the theater, we've organized sort of a series of community events that are happening over the first week of the show. So those include a teen writing workshop with 2 of the playwrights of Frozen River, a workshop with DJ Osho, who's one of the sort of most formidable Afro-Indigenous DJs in town. We have a concert with Aria and Zoe Spooner from Prince George, who are these incredible twin musicians.
Okay, that's where the singing is.
That's where the singing is. And all of those events are free and sort of, and really lean into what the show's about. So you could come for the concert at 6 and then stay for Frozen River at 7.
Oh, wonderful.
There's information about all of those events on our website too.
Nice. So check out the website so you can find out about all the different activities. You can make a day of it down on Granville Island, thanks to Carousel Theatre for young people. Dave, is there anything else we need to tell the people about your fantastic show?
Well, I mean, I don't know how interesting the public finds this, but I find it pretty beautiful down on Granville Island. Um, like this show and all of the community events surrounding it are really the first time that a bunch of different cultural partners on the island are all working in tandem. So, Carousel Theatre, the Vancouver Fringe, the Vancouver International Children's Festival, the Vancouver Writers Festival, and CMHC Granville Island have all hopped on board, just holding hands to make sure that the conversations that this play opens up continue and continue and continue.
How wonderful. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Dave DeBow, for taking the time to talk as we peek behind the curtain.